All right, happy Monday. So we've got the preview. I've got some news, which usually the news video is about who got hurt now. And if you're a Columbus fan, there's a name that I put on the board last night that we'll talk about in the news video. And I'll have to talk about it a little bit here because his name's still on the board, and that is a major talking point if you're a Columbus fan. So first up, tonight we have Montreal at home against Arizona. This starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And that's one of three that start at that same time. So that's a nice, manageable number. And then you've got one at 4:30/7:30. And it's still a manageable number. And then we've got two other later games. So the interesting thing with Arizona and Montreal is they're both 27, 23, and 7. And Montreal fans hate me because they're 7-3 in their last 10, and they're very excited about how they're doing, and they're much better than where I've got them on the power rankings, according to Montreal fans, and I get it. I do. The thing with Montreal is I'm waiting to see them win games against a better opponent. Toronto's had its struggles lately. Anaheim is Anaheim, and New Jersey has been mostly a disaster for this season. And then that followed a loss against Columbus last Sunday. So I do want to see them play against better opponents. This week, Montreal fans, you're in luck. They have got an absolutely brutal schedule when you look at their opposition. That 3 out of 4 of them are excellent. And Arizona, while they're 2-5-3 in their last 10, the desperation should be kicking in. And the good news is Kemper is a game-time decision tonight. Last I looked, game-time decision. So if he plays, that could change the whole thing. On the road, Arizona's 14-12-3. They have 20 regulation wins. So I want to talk about regulation wins because that's your tiebreaker to get in the playoffs. Now, at home, Montreal's now 13-14-4. That home record, the home record that was killing their playoff hopes, has started to even up. Their regulation wins, they have 17. So they need to flat out beat other teams. If regulation wins are their tiebreaker, they won't be the team that makes it. So it's still a tricky uphill climb. It's manageable at 5 points, but again, we'll see how they do this week against some pretty strong opponents. October 30th, Montreal went to Arizona and won 4-1. So they can beat Arizona, and they've already shown that. Antti Raanta, 10-12-3 with a .913 save percentage. Darcy Kemper's 15-8-2 with a .929 save percentage. And if he's in the net, it is a large difference in terms of, I would think, confidence for Arizona and for their fan base as well, I would think. Clayton Keller, 12 goals, 22 assists, 34 points. It was funny, I saw somebody ask in the comments last week what's wrong with Keller, and I thought he's the same. He's putting up about the same point totals he did last year. This is very well who he is. Hinostroza, 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points. Stepan, 8 goals, 14 assists, 22 points. And Krause, 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points. They do need more points from some players. Krause, I'm surprised he doesn't have more. And when you watch an Arizona game, he's very, very prominent, and it's surprising he doesn't have more points. On the Montreal side, Carey Price, 24-18-4 with a .913 save percentage. He has been lights out in the calendar year of 2020. He has done exactly what we all could have predicted back in, say, December, when everybody's like, all right, looks like Price isn't very good. He will drag this team into respectability, and he's done exactly that. Lindgren, he's 1-3 with an .880 save percentage as the backup. Gallagher, 18 goals, 18 assists, 36 points. He is a fantastic forward for Montreal. Suzuki, 11 goals, 24 assists for 35 points. Petrie, 8 goals, 27 assists, 35 points. And Armia, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. I can say this, as close as they are to the playoffs, they're not selling. Next up, Florida in against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Florida Panthers, again, it's been an up and down last few weeks. And when they look bad, they look horrible. But when they look really good, they look really good. So I have no idea who's going to show up tonight against Philadelphia, a team that does the exact same thing, who can win 7-2 over Washington after losing 5-0 against New Jersey. I have no idea what to expect. Florida, 29-19-6. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. On the road, they're 13-9-4. They have 24 regulation wins. So regulation wins, they have a tiebreaker on some teams that they're in around the same area with points. The Philadelphia Flyers, 30-18-7. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. So overall, they've been very, very good over their last 10. But again, it depends on the game. At home, they're 18-5-4. Regulation wins, they have 21. November 19th, these teams met in Florida. The Panthers won that game 5-2. Their next meeting will be February 13th at Florida. So, goaltenders. Bobrovsky's 20-15-5 with an .898 save percentage, making headlines for the wrong reasons in recent games. Montembeault 4-2-1 with an .889 save percentage. On the Philadelphia side, Carter Hart is rumored to be back tonight. I hadn't seen him activated yet, but again, just got up, so we'll get into all that with news of the day. Hart 15-11-3 with a .905 save percentage. Elliott 14-6-4 with a .901 save percentage. Scoring side of things, Yandel 5 goals, 34 assists, 39 points for Florida. Sevier, one of my favorite players, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points. Dangerous shorthanded, that Colton Sevier. Barkov, 16 goals, 38 assists, 54 points. Nola Chari, gone kind of cold lately with the goals. Can he get to 20? 18 goals, 3 assists, 21 points. We'll see. Konechny, 18 goals, 28 assists, 46 points for him. He's excellent in games where Philadelphia is a winning team and pretty excellent all around. Niskanen, 7 goals, 18 assists, 25 points. Van Riemsdyk, 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points. And Braun has 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points from the blue line. So for Philadelphia, this is kind of an interesting test. It is for Florida as well because, again, we want to see consistent results out of Florida. And even within the game, sometimes Florida isn't very consistent. So if I had to wager, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to do it. I don't do that. I tried. There was one year I tried doing the whole prediction thing, and it's just, it's such a crapshoot because there's so much parity. And I was so far off the mark that it became a situation where I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do it anymore. All right. Islanders in against Capitals, because then that can just overshadow what's actually going on in the previews, which was never meant to be predictions. Because then I just title it predictions. So the Islanders are 31-16-6 overall. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. It's been a bit of a slog the last month and a half. On the road, they're 14-9-2. Regulation wins, they have 20. So 11 of their wins are in either overtime or shootouts. The Capitals, 36-14-5. Over their last 10, they're 6-4. At home, they're 16-8-4. Regulation wins, they have 27. And I think there's a lot of talk about them being bad right now that I'm not sure I understand. I saw the 7-2 game. I know that was a bad game, but again, to me, it was a throwaway. And they are 6-4 in their last 10. So I'm not panicking with Caps. That's the reason I'm wearing Caps. And also because this guy, the number 8, the Ovechkin, I don't know if you've heard of him watching NBC lately, but apparently he could get 700 goals tonight. By the way, don't forget to tune in and watch this on NBC because he could hit 700 goals tonight. Hey, did you know Ovechkin? Holy crap. Anyway, so I'm hoping he gets to 700 so they can find something else to talk about. October 4th, no, then it'll just be tune in and watch 700 goal scorer Alex Ovechkin. Washington won this matchup 2-1 in New York on October 4th. December 31st, the Islanders won in Washington 4-3. Then January 18th, Washington won in New York 6-4. The home team hasn't won a single matchup between these two this year. We'll see if Washington can reverse that storyline tonight. So that does mean it should be a very good game because you've got Barry Trotz coming into Washington. That's always a good storyline. That's always something that'll sell tickets. And they're both fighting for their playoff lives. The Capitals right now, you can look and go, well, they'll still finish first. But then you look at Pittsburgh's record and how many games teams have played and realize it's not quite that much a given. Now, Varlamov, 16-9-4 for the Islanders. Grace, 15-7-2. And when you look at their save percentages, Varlamov, 9-15 and Grace, 9-20. They don't have the save percentages they did early in the year, but they're still excellent numbers overall for their goaltenders, and they are back to just a rotation. I think that's how Trotz wants to play it, which means it's going to be interesting as long as they make the playoffs, and they should. No reason they shouldn't. The Islanders, who would be the starter right now? Would it be Grace? Would it be Varlamov? Or would they consider a rotation in that, right? In terms of goaltending on the Washington side, Holtby's 20-11-4. A bewildering .893 save percentage. That's not a good save percentage. And It's so bizarre to see it that low for Holtby, a guy who's been a Vezina winner. Samsonov 16-3-1 with a 923 save percentage. Now, whether you're looking at the win-loss record or the save percentage, Samsonov's just been better. And you could kind of make an argument that Samsonov hasn't played the same quality of opponents as Holtby, but a 30-point difference in save percentage and that difference in winning percentage, you kind of have to go with Samsonov. Scoring, Pollock for the Islanders, 6 goals, 21 assists, 27 points. Bailey, 11 goals, 21 assists, 32 points. I'm really surprised at how low the points totals are for Bailey. Kiefer Bellows, keep an eye on him. 3 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Brian's kid has been pretty good so far in his time with the Islanders. Taves, 4 goals, 17 assists, 21 points on the blue line, and kind of an underrated player overall. Now, on the Washington side, Kempny, 3 goals, 13 assists, 16 points. Ovechkin, 40 goals, 17 assists, 57 points. He could hit 700 goals tonight. Could happen. Now, Eller, 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points. Very unlikely Eller gets to 700 goals tonight, but I don't want to rain on his parade, so I'm not going to say he won't score, 500 goals. But, it could be a bad game. Wilson, 16 goals, 21 assists, 37 points for the Capitals. He's had an excellent turn this year, and I think Tom Wilson's one of those guys that has evolved his game, but because so many people have already made up their mind that he's a dirty player, I think they just leave it at that. But he has evolved his game this season. We don't see a lot of hits that are questionable from him this year. I'm jinxing it, aren't I? All right, Tampa Bay's in against Columbus. This is the one that starts at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. I have jinxed it, and I feel really bad for whichever Islander I just jinxed it for. Tampa Bay, 35-15-5 overall. In their last 10, they're 8-1-1, which is the same record over the last 10 as Columbus. This should be the game of the night. On the road, they're 17-8-3. Regulation wins. They have 30. How's that for a tiebreaker? Now, Columbus, they're 30-17-9. Again, 8-1-1 in their last 10. At home, they're 18-10-2. They have 23 regulation wins. So, the next meeting between these teams is February 27th at Tampa, meaning they will face each other 3 times down the stretch. Excellent. Now, I'm predicting a low score. Goaltenders tell me this will be a low score. Vasilevsky, 29-9-3 with a .918 save percentage. He will go. I haven't looked at starting goalies. I don't think I need to. McElhinney is 6-6-2 with a .909 save percentage. Former Columbus goaltender, but I don't think there's any reason to play him here. I think it's Vasi. Korpisalo, 17-10-4. .913 save percentage. It wouldn't matter if he was good to go. Merzlikins should be the starter here. He's 12-7-4 right now with a .930 save percentage and 5 shutouts. It's just insane. So Elvis is the guy and Vasi's the guy in Tampa, and right now they could both be competing for Vezina? Like, here's the weird thing. Merzlikins, it's only 23 decisions, but at what point does the NHL go, yeah, he deserves consideration for goalie of the year? Scoring wise, Braden Point, 20 goals, 31 assists, 51 points. His scoring rate is lower than last year. That's notable, but he has been a key in their turnaround over their last 21 games. Shattenkirk, 7 goals, 21 assists. Hedman, 9 goals, 36 assists. We all know what Hedman does. Shattenkirk, his turnaround with Tampa has been one of those understated stories as well, that it just happens. For whatever reason, the Rangers pick up defensemen. They don't play very well with New York. They go somewhere else and they're pretty good. And that somewhere else is very often Tampa. Stamkos, 26 goals, 33 assists, 59 points. You want to talk about a guy who's having a really pretty solid season that we're not talking a lot about? Steven Stamkos could be that guy as well. Seth Jones, so he's not playing. I don't know when he's going to be back. 6 goals, 24 assists for him. And that is a huge hole on that blue line. And it may very well change their ability to get shutouts. He is a huge shutdown defender, not just for points, but for everything he does. It's a gigantic loss for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nyquist, 12 goals, 23 assists, 35 points. Boone Jenner, 9 goals and 10 assists for him. It seems to be there. There's something under the surface. Boone Jenner may very well have some scoring going on between now and the end of the season. And Foligno, 6 goals, 17 assists, 23 points. And so we'll see if Foligno can get some scoring going as well. Because with Jones out, there's going to have to be a lot of things that change potentially for Columbus. Unless somebody else can step it up. You can't say Werenski because Werenski's already doing everything. And now somebody else is going to have to jump in and be able to do that. So we'll see how that changes things. I do need to change boards. Nashville. Nashville's in against Vancouver tonight for their third and final meeting. And Nashville looking for some revenge. And they could get it. Nashville's 26, 21, and 7 over their last 10. They've been 5-5, but they've been better the last couple of weeks. They really have. And that 5-5 over their last 10 doesn't tell the whole story. Now, on the road, they're 15, 10, and 3. Excellent road record overall, and they're coming off of a loss against the Edmonton Oilers that they feel they shouldn't have lost. They have 21 regulation wins, so they need to get things going here. They're in against Vancouver, who are 30, 21, and 5. They're first in the division in name only. They do need to turn things around. They're 5, 4, and 1 in their last 10. At home, they're 17, 6, and 3. Regulation wins, 23 of them. So Vancouver needs to get things going. November 12th, Vancouver beat Nashville in Vancouver 5-3. November 21st, Vancouver won in Nashville 6-3, and that was the night where every power play worked, which is highly unusual, and I think it inflated the Canucks stats for the rest of the season. So the Canucks, whose power play has been bad lately, now they get to play Nashville again. So maybe Nashville's that gift that keeps on giving. I don't think so. Rinne, 17, 12, and 3 with an 898 save percentage. UC Saros is 9, 9, and 4 with a 902 save percentage. On the Vancouver side of things, Markstrom's 20, 16, and 3 with a 914 save percentage. Thatcher Demko, 10, 5, and 2 with a 909 save percentage. So for Vancouver, this is a pretty big test, and they'll be doing it without Brock Besser, who's out for at least the next couple of games. They're saying the next couple, I'm saying at least, because there's no guarantee he comes back for that third game. That's not how injuries work. Forsberg, 18 goals, 20 assists, 38 points for him. Bonino, excellent season for Bonino, right? 17 goals, 14 assists, 31 points. Yarncroke, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. And Granlund, who's looking for a new contract this summer, 12 goals, 9 assists, 21 points. His contract demands are going to be much lower than what they were rumored to be last year when he was with Minnesota and Minnesota traded him. And yeah, he's not going to make that kind of money now. I just can't see how it would be justified. So, and no, Toronto can't pay him that money. They don't have it. So before the Toronto jokes start, JT Miller on the Vancouver side, 21 goals, 33 assists, 54 points. I do chuckle when people say it doesn't matter how good Miller is. It doesn't matter how many points he got. That first round draft pick. Yeah, because JT Miller's 35. JT Miller's not that old, and so JT Miller could provide points for the Canucks for the next half a decade at least. And, I thought it was a good deal. Louis Eriksson, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. I haven't heard as much praise of Louis now that the team's losing again. I look forward to Canuck fans starting to shout and scream that we need to get somebody in there that can get actual points. Yeah, it's nice that he's got good chemistry with them, but we need more points than that. And we do need more points than that. So, Hughes, 8 goals, 33 assists, 41 points for Quinn. And Pearson, 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points. Pearson's 40-point season, he's been great this year. He really has. So, a couple of solid additions in there. Good draft pick. And Louis Eriksson. All right, next up, last up, Calgary in against San Jose. The Flames need to be careful here because the Sharks have beaten them twice in 2 games already this year. And this is their 3rd out of 4 meetings. So for this battle from last year that was a blood feud, hasn't quite been there this year, but the potential is always there. You've got Matthew Tkachuk on one side, and you've got Evander Kane on the other. So there's the potential that things can get kind of testy out there. Now, Calgary's 28, 22, and 6 over their last 10. They're 4, 5, and 1. So that's not stellar. They did win their last game in Vancouver. It does feel like they're turning the corner. On the road, they're 15, 12, and 2. They have 18 regulation wins. So that's troubling that 10 of their wins are not regulation wins. Again, that's your tiebreaker to get into the playoffs. San Jose, they're 24, 27, and 4. Over their last 10, they're 5 and 5. At home, they're 14, 13, and 1. Regulation wins, they have 18 of them. So yeah, October 13th, San Jose won that matchup 3-1 over Calgary. February 4th, San Jose beat Calgary 3-1 in Calgary. And their next meeting will be March 23rd. That will be in Calgary as well. So if the Flames miss the playoffs, San Jose may very well be able to take credit. So this is where playing a spoiler becomes important. And for San Jose, who sit below 500 and all that stuff, again, and I mentioned this after their last game, they may be looking at the standings and seeing some vulnerability in the West and saying, if we can get on a run, if we can win, say, 7 out of 8, we can be right back in this. So we'll see what they do, because if they won like 7 out of 8, that put them 3 games above 500. You never know. They could very well get back into that race. Riddick, 21, 14, and 5 overall with a 909 save percentage. I'm not saying they will, I'm saying they could. Talbot, 7, 8, and 1 with a 918 save percentage. I would think it's going to be Riddick. They have to get Riddick going, really, if they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs. Jones, 13, 17, and 2 with an 889 save percentage. He's been playing very little. Dell has really taken over the net. He's 11, 10, and 2 with a 913 save percentage. That is a good save percentage. That's fantastic. That's what San Jose's needed. That's why when I hear, San Jose may trade Dell. Why? They finally got a starting goaltender, and they're going to trade him. So, scorers, Ryan's reached 10 goals with Calgary. He has 10 goals, 17 assists. Monahan, 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. There's a lot of talk about, maybe they'll trade Gaudreau. I think Monahan, of the three, would be the most vulnerable. Between Monahan, Gaudreau, and Lindholm, I think Monahan might have the most trade value without stripping the team down. Like, if you get rid of Gaudreau, it feels like you're pulling the heart out of the team. Monahan, it may not feel quite like that. That would have to be a hockey trade, though. You make it clear. I'm not talking about selling or anything like that. I'm talking about an actual hockey trade where it's players coming in and players going out, and we look at that after and we go, there's a lot here to analyze. Not just, it's a pretty good rental. Dylan Dubé, 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points for him. Hanifin, 5 goals and 10 assists. And Dubé, we've been waiting on the offense with him. Maybe it's finally showing up, and maybe there'll be some consistency. And for Hanifin, we're still waiting on the offense too. 15 points is low for Hanifin. On the San Jose side, Marleau, 10 goals, 10 assists. Does he get rented out at the deadline? What does the price become if they do rent him out? Thornton, same question. 2 goals, 22 assists, 24 points. What would 22 assists be worth to a team that's struggling to score? Like, for instance, Calgary or Nashville. Would a team like that feel like acquiring him could help prop up some of their other forwards? Or does a team like Boston pick him up just for depth? And maybe that drives the price down. Or does it? LeBanc, 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points. Quietly putting things together in the second half of the season. Erik Karlsson, 5 goals, 33 assists, 38 points. And he's been better lately. He has. He's honestly playing pretty darn well. But for San Jose, it does feel like the season's already got away from them, and there's going to be all kinds of questions at trade deadline and after. So there you go. You guys are all set up for tonight's games. Let me know your winners, all that other wonderful stuff in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.